She is currently in product development with Cyrus O'Leary Pies, and she's been doing that for 5 years up in Spokane, Washington. And before that, she spent 12 years at CSM Bakery Product doing sales and service. And then she also worked prior to that at an in-store bakery as a baker and cake decorator. I don't know if we have a theme here this morning. I don't know. We've converting all these cake people over to pie people, which I think is a good thing. She says she loves the baking profession. There's always something new to learn and do, and that everyone loves you because you bake, which I'm sure most of you have experienced as well. So thank you very much, and everybody give it up for Mickey Short. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody does love you when you bake because, yeah. The only bad thing is they expect you to do all the baking year on out. So today I'm going to share some of my favorite ideas that I get off of Pinterest. And I'm going to start with a little turkey pie. Start with the Thanksgiving holidays. Anyway, what I start with is a base, a round, and try to cut a nice thick round out of there. This kind of holds everything together, so it's easy to slip a spatula underneath there to place on your already baked pie. What you'll do is bake this separate, of course. And I do have write-ups for everything that I'm going to do today. If anybody wants any ideas, of course, they're on Pinterest too. So from there, I'm going to start with a turkey body, which is kind of, I'll just bring him down here right now. And I'm going to work on his little head and neck. And I don't have a cutter for that one, so I kind of have to wing it, so to speak.
So do you have your own Pinterest site?
No, I don't. One of these days, maybe, but right now I'm just enjoying everything else that's on there. Does everybody get on Pinterest and look at all their ideas? I love Pinterest. All right, so I'm going to start off with the neck. And just, I mean, you can't do it wrong. I mean, even if it does look a little crooked or something, it's still going to be cute. And everyone will know what it is. Start with that. And then I'm going to place him on there. And then I'm going to cut some of these edges off just so he kind of blends in there. And then what you can do also is put a little egg wash on there to make sure he sticks and doesn't go sliding once you start baking him. Let's see. A little bit on there. Kind of fix him in that way. And then you need to cut a little beak. And again, I'd put a little egg wash on there so he doesn't go anywhere. And then, I don't really know what you call this part. I'm going to call it a gobbler. What is it called? Waddle. Yep, that's it. And I just cut a thin little piece of pastry for that. And then I'll just kind of take that piece. And again, I'll put a little egg wash on there. And it could be just about any size. There. And then usually I have a skewer, which I forgot to bring with me today. But I'm going to try to make a couple little eyes here. And then I just use my leaf cutter, and I'm going to make some tail feathers. And I think I did 9 on my last one, so I'll get 9 cut out. And you can, do the little leaf pattern on there with your knife if you want. There's so many of those nice plunger cutters out there now that make the mark on it. And I'm going to put a little bit more egg wash on there so I don't lose any tail feathers. And usually what I do, I just take the back of my knife, kind of work it up, and then just kind of make my little leaf decoration on there, which I'm sure all of you have done before. I've seen your pies. They're all beautiful back there. Just arrange them on there till you fill in. I mean, you could even do another layer. It's, you know, I don't know about even baking or if anybody even want to eat it once you have it on there. Oh, this guy I think I put down normally. You could even put, you know, another row of littler feathers on there to make it a little bit more dramatic. One more. And I'm going to overlap them slightly. There we go. And then I baked him for, well, actually, I egg washed the whole thing first. So he has a nice shine on him. How many people have been to Spokane, Washington? Oh, have you really? A couple. I don't think I can get him up because my dough's getting pretty soft. But I bake him about, oh, what did I say on my instructions here? I bake him up 350 for about 10 to 20 minutes. So he's nice and crispy brown like my other one there. And then he's pretty easy to take off after he cools. Put right down on your pumpkin pie, all ready for Thanksgiving. Any questions on that or anything I can? I'm going to move on to my next one. The next pie I'm going to do is a baked apple pie. Move him back up here. And he's right here. Who loves to do lattice? No? I love to do lattice. I just get caught up in it. It's so much fun. So what you need to do, of course, wash your apple. And then something sharp to scoop out the middle. Make sure you get all those seeds out of there, but leave a nice thick wall because we're going to bake this guy. And my scoop works pretty good. I did use a melon baller on the first couple that I made, but I seen this scoop and I thought I'm going to give him a try, and he works. Or they're so sturdy that they really scoop it out a whole lot better. There, you get a nice size, and he sits kind of flat too. That's always nice too. Just a baking apple of any kind would probably be good. I like the Granny's pretty good for baking, but I love Macintosh, all those kind of apples. I mean, a red apple would look really good. All right, so we have some some Comstock today. Joe couldn't make it this year, but I'm going to use a little bit of his apple filling. And rather than just stuffing it with apple filling, I'm going to mix it up with a little bit of some that I have sitting beside me here. Some like a cobbler mix, the oatmeal, brown sugar, and just mix that up in with your apples. And this is going to be too much. This would be more like for 2 apples. Mix that up good. You get a little bit of crunch in there when it bakes. And then just stuff your apple. And I pack it pretty full. Right there is pretty good. And now the fun part, I like a little bit of lattice on there, but you could easily just take some more of that crumble, put it on the top of the apple and bake it also. My dough's getting soft. Let's see if I can get it over here without it falling apart on me. And I like to use my roller to cut my strips. And the nice thing about this is it doesn't take so much lattice to, I'll leave it sitting up there, to cover this guy up. But I do nice inch, I'm gonna say quarter inch lattice. It's my favorite to work with. I like it small and tight. I think it just looks so fancy and nice. And I'll do 3 or 4 of those here. And I'm going to cut those in half again. And I just start with the big cross. And then just work it, one on each side there. And then I'll lift this guy up, put that guy there. And it just depends on how tight you want it, or, you know, gaps that apple juice will start cooking up and come through your lattice, and it'll look really good also. Just keep working that lattice. I usually go straight up and down for a while. Whoops. And then I'll start putting a few on the sides, filling it in.
You ever top that off with caramel?
Oh yes, that would be good too. No, I have not, but that sounds very good. Especially with that cobbler topping on there, that would be delicious. Oh yeah, scoop ice cream now. All right. I'm making lattice at home. I make sure I take the dog out. Nobody's bothering me while I'm making lattice. Before I start is what I'm saying. All right, here we go. I think we got it big enough. Let's see if I can get it to kind of stick. Usually what I'd like to do here is put it in the refrigerator for 5 or 10 minutes. Then it's nice and stiff when you pull it out. Let's see what I get here today. Well, pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's, well, it's far from perfect. Just kind of give it a little squeeze on there so it doesn't go anywhere. And you could egg wash it really though too.
So how long do you bake it for?
This I baked about 25 minutes. I think it was at a 350 oven also. Let's look here. Yeah, 350 oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. Just think how everyone would love you with this. Make this as a dessert for
Right.
get together. Usually I use my scissors on this too. I forgot to bring them with me this time. There we go. It's pretty good. And then, of course, I would egg wash that again, too. I like to egg wash things, give them a nice little shine. You're going to go to all the work of lattice. You need to show it off. And then, let's see out here. So at home, you would probably bake it in a bunch of them together in a casserole dish or something. But what I would do is put it in here, put maybe a ½ inch of water in here while it's cooking. So it kind of steams a little bit and it'll make that apple nice and tender. And like I said, 350 for about 25, 30 minutes, and you got it. Get this cleaned up. Oh, thank you, Marcia. So then I was thinking for Mother's Day, these would be really fun to do, or maybe even the 4th of July. Just take your dough, press it into your mini muffin tin, and bake it up. Let's see. I had some here. What did I do with them? Oh, here they are. I did some with the star cutter here that I'm going to fill up. But they're a nice mini. You know what I like to do with these is that's when you get your tiered plates out. And then you have a whole bunch of different desserts, and this could be one of them. Anyway, the flower kind of reminded me of Mother's Day. The star could easily be 4th of July or Labor Day. And I guess I need some dough to cut out before I can go too far. And like I said, just cut out, kind of see how oversized that is too. That's kind of what you have to look for. That way you have the dough to push in here. I'll make a star and a flower to show you how I do it. And just kind of give yourself plenty of space because obviously you're not going to be able to use those anyway. And you just kind of lift your points up. Start pressing it in a little bit, trying not to rip the dough up. But you want a nice little cup so you have plenty of space there to put a little filling. It's pretty easy. Turns out pretty cute. Let's see, I'll go right there. And the same thing with this. Just kind of push those petals up. You can always push them back down to their original shape. There you go, a nice little petal cut. And then those I baked again at 350. let's see, 350 for about 10 to 15 minutes. You just want a nice golden brown look like I have here with these. And then what you could do is I'm going to use some of Comstock's Simply Cherry. This is a new filling for them this year. It's pretty simple, clean label, if anybody's into that. This I put a little bit of lime rind on it. I was hoping to maybe get a little key lime to put in there. That would be kind of good too for the holidays. But fill it up with your fruit or your cream. Or do a bunch of different flavors. If you get the Comstock, you could get like a cherry and blueberry for the 4th of July, and strawberry or cherry sounds really good for Mother's Day. And then you could put a little bit of whipped cream on there. Let's see how good my whipped cream has held up for, it's been about a day and a half. Yep, looks like it's pretty good yet. And then I just start like in between the two, you can see that there, between the two edges of the star. And just kind of work my way to the middle. And of course you can do this any way you want. Load it up with that, a little dollop on the top. And then you could put, I have a little chocolate pellets here today. Makes it look kind of elegant. Same with this guy here. I didn't make any flowers ahead of time, but this way you kind of leave some of that filling out. People can tell what's in it. Little dollop on the top there. And I think I have a couple of little, oh, maybe I don't. Oh, here they are. A couple little curls. It's amazing what you can find at the grocery store anymore. They're selling all this stuff, and it's kind of fun. But anyway, you can kind of picture your tray all stacked up, one layer of these, one layer of whatever it is you want to do there, cookies, whatever there. But I think that's a great Mother's Day idea. All right. I find in my Walmart from time to time, down the, they have like a cake baking aisle now. And I seen some the other day ago. I was really surprised down there, like their flour spice aisle. All right. The next one. Thank you, Marcia. And the next project I was going to do is I love this. Is like one of the first things I seen on Pinterest. Again with the lattice. And then, this is another one. Obviously, I got turkey on there. This could be good for Thanksgiving. But you could put flowers on there, Mother's Day again, stars for the 4th of July. So, what did I do with all my... So this one I did a little bit earlier. I was going to just plop him on a pie, but I added some braids in there, a little bit thicker pieces weaved in with skinnier pieces. And I'm just going to fill up a shell with some apple, I think. Just use this. How many people have used this Comstock in emergencies? Or, it is pretty good day to day. It is pretty good. And I need a little bit more there. there's a nice full pie. Yeah, pretty full. Just a little bit more. And again, my dough is soft. Let's see how much of a mess I make here. Oh, there we go. There we go. I made this one last night. And I should have worked them over just a little bit. But again, I would use my scissors and kind of cut off all those edges that are hanging there. And then you can kind of blend those in, those rough cuts, into your crust on the sides there. That one kind of got skimpy, that side. And then just crimp your edges. Some are going to be a little skimpy on this one. And I would egg wash this one again before I put it in the oven. There we go. I did another one I started on this morning, but I didn't quite finish it. Just so I could work on the braiding a little bit. It is kind of intimidating when you first start off. I made tons of braids in my kids' hair all my life, and then when I start braiding pastry, I'm like, how do you do that? But you just got to kind of remember this middle one here. It either goes off to the left, off to the right, and just kind of get your pattern going that way. And there you go. And then you can fill her in with, more thick strips or thin strips, whatever it is you want to do there. But I was going to show you another one that I'd made. Let's see here. This one I had already baked. Oh, it's falling apart on me. He traveled from Spokane, Washington to here, so he's in rough shape. Oh. Well, I made them, froze them, and then shipped them up. We had pies in the competition yesterday, so I shipped them up with those. But I just wanted to show you too, if this one I baked with the raw dough, but you could also pretty easily, just bake these up ahead of time. Have you seen these plunger cutters? Oh, I know, I just love these guys. They punch it right out. Yes, and I mean, it's got I'll show you a few of those. Not that I'm here to sell their product. Yes, I did get them off Amazon. Yes, I love Amazon. Yeah, I'll finish using this one here. All right, yeah. But all you got to do is press it right into your dough. Take your little plunger, and then you just got to plunge it out also. And they're so cool. I had a whole bunch of fall leaves. I got a pumpkin, turkey. I love these little acorn. Just lots of fun. But yeah, what I would do, depending on what kind of pie you've made, I believe this one's a blueberry. So what you could easily do is just save a little bit of your blueberry, you know, the jack that's in your pie. If you want it to stick on there and not move around a little bit, just put that on there. And then just work your arrangement around there till you're happy with it. I have a whole bunch of them here. And then these one, you know, like I just cut out here. Again, I would egg wash them when I put them in the oven so that they had that nice little shine on them. But yeah, I mean, I'm even gonna just try that right there. Kind of unkosher, but there we go. But yeah, go around the whole thing. Maybe turkey in the middle there. I mean, there's all kinds of things you could do with those cutters that are really cute. Get these out of the way. All right, what I'm going to show you next is how many of you take your leftover pie dough and make the cinnamon sugar and all that stuff? Well, I seen this idea that I thought was cooler than heck. And you take your leftover pie dough and what I mixed up was a little bit of brown sugar, some chopped almonds, and some raisins. And put a little bit of those all over on here. Now you could, and I probably should, egg wash it first so it sticks. Doesn't have to be a whole lot. Or, you know, even a little bit of water would help it stick. Scatter this all over. Break up some of those lumps if you have them. But I mean, anything could go here. Cheese, shredded cheese, and fruit. It's endless. And depending on how thick you want it in there. Then take another sheet. Arrange that on there as evenly as you can, if you got even sizes. Then take your rolling pin, kind of roll it a little bit so it's sure to stick together. And it helps thin it out a little bit too. You don't want it too awful thick. And then with this one, I did a little bit bigger cutter. Use the star again. Pull those out. And again, the cutter for any holiday you want to do. The flower cutter would be nice for Mother's Day. Star cutter, Christmas, 4th of July. Yep, rip that one up a little bit. The egg wash does help stick it together a little bit better. I should have used a little bit more. But anyway, you get the gist of it. And again, I would egg wash them before I baked them. And put those on a baking sheet. And let's see. These ones I did at 425 minutes for 10 to 15 minutes. And here's my little samples of what I use there. I used some of my small plungers and a bigger. This is more of like a fall display here. But yeah, I like that one a lot. Good use of leftover dough. last pie I'm going to do today is my 4th of July pie. And I think I'm okay without a sheet there. So what I do on this one is I take a piece of foil. Oh. And then I just kind of fold this up. Where I make my little division in my pie where I want my, now this is this pie here. Let's see, I'll do some trading up here. There we go. So we're going to do half blueberry, half cherry, or not really quite half. It's going to be about like that. 3/4 to 1/4, something like that. I'm going to do the blueberry on this side for my stars to rest on. Don't want to get it too full, but want to make sure you get enough in there. And again, this is where the Comstock would come in very handy. You wouldn't have to make 2 flavors all on your own. You'd have them already in the can there, ready to go. I think I'm going to use this cherry. This one's coming out pretty good. Let's see. Just a little bit more. There we go. And let this go off. And then very carefully take your piece of foil out, and it should stay pretty good. You can use your spatula to kind of fill in the center there. Then I'm going to set him off to the side here for a minute, and we need to cut out some stars and stripes. See how nice that keeps that centered. And then from there, you just got to cut out some stars. I think I'll do some stars first. I think a couple of different sizes on the stars look pretty good. Now, when your leaves don't get caught up in the middle of them anyway. All right. Just cut. You have as many as you want. Overlapping them, I mean, this is pretty thin. So they would bake up, I think, just fine if you overlapped a little bit. And then you want a few stripes. So with the stripes, I think I am going to use my knife. And just kind of do a little curve. kind of follow that if you can, however thick you want it to be. And then you want this to just rest on the cherry. So I'm going to cut a little bit of that off. And then when you put it on here, you can kind of help make it look flag-like. Just keep arranging it on there till you're happy with the looks. There's a little bit extra there. I'm going to cut that guy off. There we go. And then they're pretty easy to arrange once you get them on there. Ahead of time. Just too long. Maybe one or two more here. Two little guys left here. Let's see if this guy kind of sort of fits. And this guy up here. Then we'll rearrange or arrange our stars on there. Some little guys and big guys. There you go. And again, I would egg wash it just to make sure you get that beautiful pie. You spend all that time on it. You want it to look its best. And that's all I have to show you today on the Pinterest.